Hey guys, welcome to Southern Gal True Crime, where we feature missing persons, cold cases, solved cases, and more. And today I have a special case I wanted to bring to you that is a solved case. This case comes from Arkansas. It is from 2004 and it was solved, I believe, in 2020. And the case, this case is the Rebecca Gould case. And Rebecca went missing on September 20th, 2004, and her body was found about a week later off an embankment on along Highway 9 in Izard County. And I'll put a picture up here to give you a little bit of idea of where that where Izard County is in Arkansas. Sorry about that. My background's playing with me here. In the bottom left-hand corner, you can see this outline of Arkansas, and that red highlighted area is where in the Izard County is. It's in the north central part of Arkansas, and then in the green section of the map, you'll see that star, and that is Melbourne, Arkansas, which is, I believe, the vicinity of where she was found. And then you can see Highway 9 runs southwest down from there. And then I have a picture of, and this is not the actual location where Rebecca was found, but I found this picture of Highway 9. Just want to give you a little idea of, it's just a little rural 2-lane highway with, wood line along it, and evidently she was found down in the ditch or embankment. So I just want to give you an idea of the location, what it looks like. As I said, I will have information, and the way I love this case because the way it was solved, or social media played a little part in helping solve this case, which I thought was fantastic, because most of the time social media gets negative connotations when it comes to true crime, rightly so in a lot of cases. But anyway, this case was actually solved in part using social media. So if you would like to hear about how this case and how social media played a part in it, stay tuned. This is the case of Rebecca Gould from Arkansas. She went missing in 2004 in September. Her body was found about a week later off an embankment on a local highway there. And first I'm going to give you just some background information about Rebecca's disappearance. And this article I'm going to start with is from the Northwest Arkansas Facebook page website. And here is a picture of Miss Rebecca, beautiful girl, and her little puppy, so cute. And the article says, arrest made in 2004 murder of Rebecca Gould. And it says a Fayetteville College student had goals to be a journalist. So Rebecca would have, I'm sure, been probably covering a case like this. And this article is from November of 2020. And it says, a Texas man visiting Izard County in 2004 has been arrested and charged with first-degree murder in the death of 22-year-old Rebecca Gould. William Alma Miller, 44, now a resident of Cottage Grove, Oregon, was arrested Saturday night, November 7th, by a special agent of the Arkansas State Police Criminal Investigation Division. And there's a picture of Mr. Miller. Miller was arrested in Lane County, Oregon, after the special agent assigned to the case learned Miller had returned from the Philippines. Miller is being held in the Lane County Jail in Eugene, Oregon, pending an extradition hearing, according to the Arkansas State Police. Gould's body was found along the side of the road outside of Melbourne in Izard County, Arkansas, on September 27th, 2004. On the weekend of September 20th, 2004, Gould came home from college in northwest Arkansas to visit her boyfriend. Monday morning, she drove him to work at the Melbourne Sonic before stopping by the Possum Trot convenience store. Yes, that is a real store. She was supposed to take a nap, get up later, go pick her sister up, and they were going to drive back to school, said a woman who did a podcast about the case in a 2018 interview with KNWA Fox 24. Rebecca never showed up. 1 week after she was last seen, a search party found Gould's body down an embankment along Highway 9, according to Arkansas State Police. Rebecca was enrolled at Northwest Arkansas Community College in Fayetteville, and she was an aspiring journalist, according to family members. Upon learning of the arrest, Arkansas State Police Director Colonel Bill Bryant said, "The special agents assigned to this case never abandoned any hope of finding the necessary evidence and facts to lead them to a suspect and an arrest. This case is a testament to the Criminal Investigation Division and the devotion the special agents assigned to the division possess in helping police and sheriff's departments across Arkansas with their toughest cases." So that is the basic information on Rebecca's disappearance and the subsequent arrest of Mr. Miller. So I just wanted to give you that and give you some background on Rebecca, because as always, the victims and the victims' families are the most important parts of these cases. I always say that because it is true. So now I want to go, and the way, of course, law enforcement did the bulk of the work, as always. Fantastic job in helping investigate this case and solve it. But I also wanted to bring to you how social media and podcasters helped with this, and also how the offender, Mr. Miller, interjected himself into, not necessarily with law enforcement, but how he interacted with these, the podcasters, because in a lot of these cases, we all know, if we follow, those of us who follow true crime, that a lot of times the offenders will inject themselves somehow into these cases, whether it be with law enforcement, social media, and things of that nature. So, let me find the article about, 1 minute, about the podcasters and how they played a part in it. Alright, there we go. And, of course, I'm going to have to refresh the page. Alright. And this article is from fox16.com. And podcasters lure Arkansas cold case killer out from silence. Oh. Get rid of the ads. Oh, come on. Alright. Go away. Go away. There we go. Okay. Melbourne, Arkansas. An Arkansas cold case quickly heated up as social media may have lured the cross-country killer out of silence nearly 2 decades later. Rebecca Gould disappeared in 2004 while on a weekend trip home from college. George Jared is a true crime podcaster and one of the first journalists on the scene when Rebecca vanished. She stopped to get coffee and a couple of breakfast sandwiches, and she headed back to her sort of ex-boyfriend's house, Jared said. Rebecca was last seen alive at a convenience store, formerly the Possum, it says Trout, it's supposed to be the Possum Trot. About a week later, and miles away, a search team found Gould's body near Highway 9 outside Melbourne in Izard County. And there's a picture of the missing posters that were posted when Rebecca disappeared. For the last 18 years, Jared, who is one of the podcasters and a reporter, Jared would reflect on his handwritten report notes from that day, wondering who killed Gould. He teamed up with his friend Jen Buchholz, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, who lives thousands of miles away and is a police investigator in Colorado. We used open source information, Buchholz said. We did not have a case file. The duo knew the mystery could be solved, and they spent hours and hours working with different weapons and dummies and ourselves. So that, I'm assuming that means they were trying to recreate maybe what could have happened to Rebecca. The pair started the Unsolved Murder of Rebecca Gould Facebook page, which quickly took off with a global audience. And if I can find that Facebook page, I will put a link to it in the description section. We had a guy join our page from the Philippines, Jared said. The man was William Miller, came onto our radar pretty early on, Buchholz recalled. Everyone wondered why William Miller, the man from the Philippines, would be interested in an Arkansas cold case. Absolutely, that would raise questions. Word from Miller quickly appeared in Buchholz's inbox. He first messaged me a month or so later, she said. Miller, who just pleaded guilty in court in October of 2022 to Rebecca's murder, sent Buchholz a Facebook message with a newspaper clipping. And here is the message, and it says, "So I'm just trying to help out, but when I read the old newspaper, this just sticks out for me." And then he includes a clipping from the newspaper. It's really small. I can't read it. But I will include a link to these to all the articles I'm reading from in the description section, so you can go back and read them, the whole story. And then another message he sent her says, the neighbor said he heard screaming coming from the trailer before she was missing. It does not say night or day when he heard it, so that puts him there or close by. So he's given information supposedly that he has been reading in various places. We would have a post and he would say something and, people would be commenting, Jared said. Miller also left a comment on a post about the trails where Rebecca's body was found. And this is one of the posts. It says, Lunenburg Road, lead Highway 9, but Road 48. You can see on Google Maps that there are trails, aka little roads, rural 2-lane highways, going up to the area where Rebecca was found. I believe it would have to be someone that knows the roads and lives in the community. That would be my guess. So there's a big red flag, in my opinion, right there. Okay. He kept saying things to us that were very, very suspicious, Jared said. Then there was a private message from Miller to the team. And this is where he starts trying to interject himself. Okay, the message says, I think if we start from the beginning and you interview the people, we will get somewhere. He's saying we, as in he wants to help, apparently, in trying to find or solve this case. And he says, I believe you can solve this. I will pray that you get justice for her family. That just sends chills up my spine, knowing what we know now, that Mr. Miller was the offender who killed Rebecca. He has been convicted of it. Alright, another member of the page started to question Miller's interest and used her experience to find a connection between Miller and Rebecca. She's into genealogy, and she quickly figured out that William was the first cousin of Rebecca's sort of ex-boyfriend that she had been staying with the weekend prior to the murder, Jared said. So he has a connection to Rebecca. Another red flag. Buckholt said things started coming together after that discovery. We were coming to conclusions that had never been discovered before, Buckholtz recalled. The crime-fighting duo wondered if Miller could be the killer, so they played it safe. We took those communications and we gave them to the state police, Jared said, which of course is the absolute right thing to do. If in armchair sleuths, help investigate, looking into cases, if they find something, the absolute first thing you should do is give it to the police. Alright, troopers started to monitor Miller's comments, then took him into custody. Months later, investigators said he confessed to the killing. Miller did. Miller has, excuse me, Miller has been sentenced to 40 years in prison earlier this month after his guilty plea to a charge of first-degree murder. The podcasters believe Miller outed himself. Absolutely, I believe that. When you start posting things like that, giving descriptions of locations and whatnot, and trying to say, we can solve this crime, definite red flags, in my opinion. Social media definitely lured him out. We know that because there was no trace of him anywhere, really, until some of these Facebook groups came to be, Buckholt said. Jared said Miller told Gould's family that he snapped at something Rebecca said. The podcasters believe it is Miller's guilt that led him to social media. It was a perfect crime until he allowed his mind to take control, Jared said. So, I don't know if it was guilt, because in my opinion, people like this don't have a conscience or morals, and they don't feel guilty about anything. I think he was, in my opinion, once again, just trying to interject himself into the case, maybe try to get 15 minutes of fame. But whatever the case may be, it backfired on him, thankfully, and he was arrested and convicted. All right, and I also have another article about his, oh my goodness, notifications popping up. Another article about his sentencing. There we go, there it is. And once again, I have to refresh the page. Alright. Rebecca Gould's murderer sentenced to 40 years after pleading guilty. And there is a picture of Miller in his prison orange. And Melbourne, Arkansas. A man who beat Rebecca Gould to death with a piano leg, horrible, and then dumped her body on the side of the road, pleaded guilty Tuesday to her murder. William Alma Miller waived his right to a jury trial in circuit court. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. My allergies are giving me fits today. William Alma Miller waived his right to a jury trial in circuit court on October 18th and was sentenced to 40 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections. And there's another picture. We'll skip by him. Judge Tim Weaver told Miller that he hoped he would do every day of his sentence, adding that if Miller ever became eligible for parole, he would write an extensive letter opposing it. Kudos to that judge. Before adjourning the court, Weaver told Miller he was remorseless and cold. Dr. Larry Gould, Rebecca's father, read a witness statement in court addressing Miller's actions. 18 years ago, my life changed forever, Dr. Gould said. You took her from her own future. You took away a chance for a girl to dream. A hell you created, a hell you must face. Dr. Gould added that he pledged at his daughter's funeral service that he would find the person who killed his daughter. Promise made, promise kept, he said. Rebecca lives in all of us. Love and grace are words I will remember her by. Absolutely well said. Following his sentencing, Miller apologized to Rebecca's family. "I'm sorry for what I've done. I need to go to prison for what I've done," Miller said. He added that if he could go back in time to change what happened, he would. In my personal opinion, I don't believe that. As he was leaving the courtroom, a family member handed Judge Weaver a ribbon with Rebecca's picture on it. "I don't know what closure means, but I hope you get some," Weaver told the Goulds. Izard County Chief Deputy Charles Melton was one of the first responding police officers when Gould went missing in 2004. He said her murder put the Izard County and Melbourne community on edge, and now with Miller finally sentenced nearly 18 years later, he hopes some fears are eased. "I'm very excited that it is closed. I hope it brings closure to a lot of folks. Over the course, there will be questions that are not answered, and that's the nature of the beast. I hope that people are at ease," Melton said. As Mr. Miller said today, he was the only one involved and nobody else was, and that he acted alone. Melton explained today's plea deal hopefully will bring the family some closure, but knows the family will never have true justice. "I'm glad there's closure for the family. I'm really pleased about that, but it's still a bittersweet thing," Melton said. Like the family said in court during the hearing today, there's nothing that's going to bring Rebecca back. There's nothing for true justice, but this is a step for closure for the family. And that is always very important, is for a family to get closure, to get at least some answers about what happened to their loved one. Today's sentencing comes nearly 2 years after Miller was charged with first-degree murder in Rebecca's death in 2004. Miller was scheduled to go on trial Monday, October 31st, and I believe this was back in 2020. But Hance said Miller's attorneys offered to withdraw a trial by jury, and Rebecca's family agreed. According to court documents, Miller confessed to killing Gould on September 20th, 2004 with a piano leg. Mr. Miller advised that he then entered Rebecca's bedroom where he began to strike her multiple times with the piano leg, the affidavit stated. Following the killing, Miller reportedly confessed to wrapping Rebecca's body in a blanket and putting it in the bed of his pickup truck. He later dumped her body beside the highway near Melbourne, the court document stated. It took investigators 16 years before they finally tracked Miller down in Oregon and arrested him. And it says initially Miller fought extradition to face charges in Arkansas. Alright, so that is the case of Rebecca Gould and how it was solved with, of course, most importantly, the hard work of law enforcement and investigators, but also with a little help from social media. And like I said before, most of the time when social media, YouTubers, bloggers get involved in these true crime cases, it's not so positive. Most of the time, rightly so, although there are some very good armchair sleuths and some retired professional law enforcement here on YouTube. And you can look at my subscribed list. There are some very good, drama-free, stick-to-the-facts, professional people who analyze these cases. So definitely check them out. I wanted to bring you the story, a positive story, a solved case. Most of the time I bring you, which is also important, unsolved cases, but those cases are important to get the information out, which is the main goal that I want to do here, is my little small part in trying to get information out about our missing persons, unsolved cold cases, and the like. Before you go, please, if you like the content that we have here, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications of when I upload new content. Like and share our videos. Absolutely, the most important are missing persons and unsolved case features. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their weekend. Thank you for watching. Be safe and take care. Bye bye.